Okay, all you eBay people who seem to not know how to pack a record player or don't want to take the time to pack it right, I'm going to show you how to do it. I think I made a video about this a few years ago, but I think we need to do another one. First of all, we need to prepare the record player for transit. And we have the power cord wrapped up. We have the speed selector placed in neutral. We have our tone arm affixed to the tone arm rest, but we need to attach it just a little bit better in case it comes loose. You never fully depend on the tone arm rest to keep the arm in position while in transit. Now, if the tone arm rest has a small hole in it, you need to run a wire or a zip tie or whatever through it to tie the arm to the rest. But if it doesn't have a hole in it, you need to use a piece of masking tape, just enough to put over the tone arm and wrap it around and tape it to the arm rest. Do not let tape get stuck to the motor board here, especially if it's this thin paper covered stuff, because when you pull the tape off, it can pull the paper off with it. Now, if you're shipping a model that uses an automatic record changer, most of the time the record changer is suspended on springs, and before you pack the record player for shipping, there are usually two transit screws located on the record changer. One will be in the front right-hand corner, and the other one will be in the rear left-hand rear corner. You need to take a screwdriver and back those screws out as far as they go. They will not come completely out, but what that does, that pulls the record changer down flush with the motor board, and then there's no way it can bounce around in shipping. And just like on this one, make sure the tone arm is locked, attached to its rest. Put the 45 RPM adapter over the spindle. If one is present, swing the record balancing arm over, and then take a piece of wire or zip tie or whatever and tie the balancing arm to the spindle so it can't move around. Put plenty of padding inside of the record player compartment just for extra security, and then close the lid. And we have our padding in place. That's just there for little added protection, shock absorption. Alright, now it's ready to go in a box now. Right, here's a box ready to go with several layers of bubble wrap folded up in the bottom for padding. Alright, here we are inside the box. Now we need to put some bubble wrap, crumpled up paper, styrofoam, whatever, down in here. Anything except these, what I call the Amazon airbags. I don't particularly care for these, but just something to pack down in here to provide some shock absorption between the box and the unit itself. Okay, we have the sides all packed in with a variety of different materials. What I had on hand, packing peanuts, packing paper wadded up, bubble wrap. It's all stuffed down in there. Now we need to put some layers of bubble wrap on top up here to protect the top of the record player, and then we'll seal the box shut. And then we want to tape our box shut, and I like to temporarily tape the top closed first where it can't come flopping open, and then press down the sides of the box here where it's firmly in place, and then tape down the top here, and then put another strip of tape across the bottom, and then do the same thing to the other side here. Press the side of the box in where everything is firm and secure. Put a strip of tape across the bottom and a strip of tape across the top. And then we will take a round of packing tape and run it around the center seam here where the flaps open up. And then just for good measure, I like to put another round right here on this flap at this end of the box, and another round on this flap on this other end of the box. And here's the box all taped shut. There's no way in heck this is going to come open. And I shook the box and nothing's rattling around inside, so everything's packed nice and tight. Now, I don't quite feel comfortable with a single box, even though it would probably still make it. So I'm putting it inside of this other box. We're going to fill these gaps in with some material, tape it up, and this thing should withstand just about anything they choose to do to it. Here we are with packing material all on the sides, and sometimes I have to get creative when packing stuff, and I'm going to have to do that this time because I don't think the flaps are going to come together, but I know how to get around that. Alright, for the exception of affixing the shipping label, this thing is ready to go. So I put a couple of rounds of tape around this end of the flap on this side, another couple of rounds of tape here on this end of the flap, and then put another couple of rounds of tape on this end of flap number 2, and a couple more rounds of tape on this end of flap number 2. And just to be on the safe side, I put a few rounds of tape going the other direction, here, here, and here. And we're all taped up on this corner and here on this corner of the box. So yeah, they can do whatever they want to with this thing. The chances are very small that this is going to arrive damaged, but on that note, there are times when I don't care how well you pack something, they're going to figure out a way to break it. But at least at that point, you know it's packed well and you've got something to go on should a claim have to be filed. Now, had I just threw this in a tight-fitting box to save on the size of the box and weight, just so I could make money off of the shipping, and this arrived broken, then the person who's getting this would be well within their rights to file a claim and get a full refund out of me. But now that I've taken the time to wrap this up and do it correctly, I can sleep at night knowing that this thing will most likely make it to its final destination, and the person who's getting it will be happy with it, and there won't be any problems. Okay, here's an example of a floating record changer. Now, this stereo is garbage. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes. You see how the changer floats on springs? You do not want to ship it in that position, because if you do, something is surely going to get damaged. So you see there's a big screw head here and a big screw head here. You simply take an appropriate screwdriver and back these two screws out as far as they'll go. Now, as you can see, the screws are backed out. This one won't back out as far because this old particle board's gotten wet and swollen, but never mind that. But as you can see, the changer is now pulled down flush with the motor board, and there's no way it can bounce around. And you put the 45 spindle over the LP spindle. If you don't have that, you know, wrap the spindle in some bubble wrap or put some styrofoam over it or whatever. So in case something does come loose or get bounced around, the spindle won't punch a hole in the lid of the record player and possibly bend the spindle, as well as punching a hole in the record player lid. Put the overarm down, tie it in position or tape it in position so it can't move. Make sure your tone arm is locked, and don't just depend on this factory lock. Use a piece of masking tape or a zip tie or whatever to secure it in position, and then put lots of padding in the record playing compartment. Close the lid, box it up just like you saw me box that little one, and you should be good to go.